Hey guys, thank you for coming back to another episode of Cobra TV. And today we're going to talk about some features of the game that I see a lot of questions being asked that more than just a few people seem to not know about. And we're going to break this up into three different segments of confirmed 100% features and maybe in the game based upon what Sean Murray said, then all the way down to things that Sean Murray said, but still I think is very unlikely to be in the game, but worth a mention. So first of all, 65 Days of Static, the soundtrack for No Man's Sky, not the entire thing for crying out loud, but the soundtrack of set songs that they recorded for the game, and then samples of the procedural generation on the second CD, that has been delayed as well. I was hoping that they were still going to stick with their original release date and come out with a CD and I get it delivered to the house and get a little taste of the music in the game before the game comes out. But no. It got delayed as well. They just updated their website a couple days ago. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But they still have yet to reveal the proper artwork that's going to be on the CD. It's just a placeholder kind of. They're with a record label called Laced Records. So it has a default artwork on it. But yeah, I was hoping it was going to come out as scheduled, but I get it. I understand. Okay, so let's move into some of these facts. A lot of these first ones here are from questions that I see a lot being asked on the channel here and sometimes in the Facebook groups. But one of the first things, rings around planets. The answer to gas giants is no, but the rings around planets is a yes. As Sean Murray states right here.
So Dog G6 asked a simple question: will there be rings around some planets?
Yeah, we haven't shown that yet. But yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think that's if it's in sci-fi and in sci-fi book covers, we kind of need to do it.
And then another one that I see asked a lot is about volcanoes in No Man's Sky. Now, we haven't heard Sean Murray talk about volcanoes, and we definitely haven't seen them in the trailers or gameplay footage. But in an article from Eurogamer, an interview with Grant Duncan talks a lot about the art for the game, where they get their inspirations from. Grant Duncan states in the interview, we have limestone caves, we have lava caves, we have wind erosion and coastal erosion, and we have glacial erosion and volcano islands. So that to me sounds like a yes, unless the volcanic islands don't have any volcanoes. And I will link that article down below so you guys can go take a read for yourself. It's towards the bottom. The second one that I keep hearing is hurricanes. The reason why I put this in the confirmed features is it's a flip-floppy one. And the interview here, which I'm going to play a clip of, it does not confirm directly, but the number of weather effects that was asked to Sean Murray, the only thing he dismisses were tsunamis. He also states, with the biomes all being one biome, he talks about rain being on the planet, and he said that it won't rain all of the time, that it'll come and go, but the rain will be the most dominant feature of the biome on that planet, but it's not going to be raining all the time.
Dog G6 asks, will there be dynamic/timed weather effects such as sandstorms, hurricanes, acid storms, tsunamis?
Tsunamis. There are no tsunamis. The others are okay. There are like weather effects and stuff, and again, that's been in some vids. I'm sure we've shown some kind of sandstorms. I think we've shown rain and kind of like really misty planets and things like that, and those do kind of vary on a planet, but generally you'll have a prevailing weather type on a planet. Like, this is a decision we made that generally a planet will be kind of one biome in its entirety with some kind of variation within it, so that players can kind of say, oh, that's the ice planet, that's the kind of the Dune-esque planet, rather than like what you would have on Earth, where Earth contains so many different biomes and things like that. You'll find this planet where it's raining but it just won't necessarily rain all the time, 24/7 kind of thing. That will kind of come and go, but it will tend to be way more prevalent on that planet.
And another thing that gets asked quite a bit is the hyperdrive. Is it just a form of fast travel, or is the universe really just that big? And the answer to that is the universe is really that big, because you can fly manually to other star systems without using the hyperdrive, as Sean states here.
Alan says, it's been said that your first ship has terrible range. I assume this is just for jumps. Could you potentially manually fly to new solar systems?
Yes, but nobody's actually done it yet. It takes like an inordinate amount of time, like a really, really long time.
Are we talking years?
I don't actually know. It's a huge distance. It depends on the star system. Some are quite close together, but still, a ridiculous distance compared to how far planets are apart from each other. So none of us have taken the time. We could probably work out what the average is.
Sure.
But I like the idea of just releasing it, and somebody will try it.
So the hyperdrive really isn't like some form of fast travel. I mean, technically it is, but come on, you got a spaceship, you got a hyperdrive. But at the same time, with that said, yes, you can travel directly, to the star, but that option is there if you want to try. You could also play the game with a touch of realism. Speaking about speed, the planets can be really far away, even though they look close. And it could take you a really long time to get there if you don't use your boost. Now, boost is different than hyperdrive. Boost is like really fast speed while you're in a star system. Hyperdrive takes you to a different star system instantaneously. Normal flight does not require the need to refuel. But boost and hyperdrive, those do require fuel. Long flights and distances in the game can sometimes be a fun thing, but if you look at the screen, it says it takes several minutes just to get to that planet. So if you really wanted a sense of realism, you could actually play it like that. And who knows why somebody would want to. I mean, a lot of people would want to, but they might find that it gets annoying at times. Depending on what's on your mind or the type of player you are, you have that option to travel the long route. But it's awesome to know that the option is there for you to try at the very least. Being a bounty hunter, now I had a little bit of hard time trying to think if I should put this in the 100% confirmed section or if I should put it down in the maybe in the game section, because it was said so long ago in the GameSpot interviews that they did, I think it's early 2014 or mid 2014, but he did mention being a bounty hunter in the game, and you could play that role for as long as you like. It was one of the roles that they talked about quite a bit back then, but he hasn't mentioned it ever since, so I'm not saying that's 100% confirmed. Maybe I should have put it down below, but how would that work? There's when we think of bounty hunter, we think of multiplayer, but I don't think it's like that. Maybe taking out pirates. Maybe they have bounties on them, and when you take out a pirate, not only do you get the resources, but maybe you get paid higher units for taking out a pirate or taking out something else. Who knows though? But let's file that down and maybe in the game, which we're going to right now. Okay, so maybe in the game. These are things that Sean Murray has said, but it was very cryptic about whether they were actually going to be 100% confirmed. And these are things, in my opinion, that probably will be in the game. And one of those things is a lot of people keep asking from the PC community, is there going to be modding in the game? Sean Murray did respond to this in the Game Informer interview, which I'm going to link down below. He says, I think PC games should have mods and the ability to mod. Otherwise, then they're just going to start making them and tearing apart your game. That's what I have more of a fear of. I think if they get in there and they just start disassembling it, they will end up creating parallel universes. Like genuinely, that's what would happen. You would change the number and then someone else would be playing in a different universe, but still posting to our servers. He goes on to say, we will probably give the tools to allow them to do stuff, but we don't want people creating new planets within an existing game. I don't think we can stop them from doing that if there's a clever enough programmer, which there always is, Sean Murray says. There are going to be weird things with the game unofficially, but officially, I think we probably want to give people some modding ability just so they leave our game alone. Just give them enough creative outlet to keep them busy rather than them thinking of all the destructive things that they could possibly do. So that is definitely good news. But what I've noticed, I'm not a big PC gamer. I've only been gaming on PC for a year. But what I have noticed is that people who add these mods are really good at what they do. And I don't think that anybody can stop them from doing what they want. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Another awesome thing, another thing that I mentioned 2 years ago was the details that were in the Edge magazine that a lot of people never got a chance to read. But Sean Murray and the team went into that interview full force with a bunch of details. And some of those details were one of them that stuck out to me. The two that stuck out to me were land vehicles and multiplayer. As it states, Murray and Ream hint at a more extensive terrain deformation, ground vehicles, and more traditional multiplayer mode to come later. And if you take a look inside their studio, they do have reference material for ground vehicles hanging on the wall. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, why wouldn't there be land vehicles? I mean, it would be just another cool thing to play around with. Your jetpack, yeah, we have a jetpack. We have a spaceship that can fly all around the planet. But we're going to be parking our spaceship from time to time. And you got AI on the planet, NPCs on the planets. Who knows what they have not showed us that's going to be on these planets other than just the buildings and a Korvax standing inside. So when you land your ship, you're going to be wandering away from it. And that's the exciting thing to Sean Murray, because a long time ago, they were talking about having a waypoint back to your ship. And he made a funny comment saying, but I don't think people need a waypoint. Let's let them lose it. But yeah, you're going to be landing your ship and you're going to be exploring at many times. I guarantee we're not going to realize just how far we've gone away from that ship. And to get it back, you either walk all the way back or find a landing pad and have your ship summoned to the landing pad. But as far as exploring, you can only go so far so fast with a jetpack and running about on the planet. It'd be kind of cool to get into a land vehicle and just go cruising around, just for the fun of it. But that is something that he definitely said long ago. Another thing that, and this is an opinion right here. It's an opinion of mine. Space whales. I do believe space whales are going to be in the game. He was asked during the Game Informer podcast, and he mentioned it being like as sort of like an inside joke that every time they do the to-do list on the boards, the whiteboards, space whales keeps getting added in there. And he said that he loves the idea. He likes the idea of space whales. And he said that it's probably going to get done one day and then implemented into the game by somebody. But he does like the idea.
So Ben6724 is asking my favorite question of this entire podcast. Are there space whales?
Space whales?
Or any sort of creatures drifting in space?
I really like the idea of space whales. We have... I don't know how he knows this, but... like, whenever we do a schedule, somebody on the team... There's a little in-joke here. That somebody on the team will always write down space whales on a post-it note and put that on the board just to try and sneak it in. So I think maybe one day it'll accidentally get done just because somebody will see it on their list and be like, right, I'll go implement those space whales.
I like the idea too. And recently, what's really cool is Bo Lam, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, if not, please accept my apology, painted a picture of a space whale. Now, he's one of the artists working on the game, so you can look at it from different angles. He's just doodling on his own time. He's doodling for the game. I wouldn't call that doodle, but he's just doing art on his own time, or he's doing art conception for the game, or the game's influencing his art style. So I don't know. In my own personal opinion, I think space whales are going to make it into the game. Another thing that is confirmed in No Man's Sky, but a lot of people don't know, because of what we've seen in the gameplay trailers, is the blackness of space. During an AMA by IGN, Sean Murray was asked, is there always bright, colorful gas when you're in the solar system, or can you sometimes see the blackness of space? Sean Murray answered by saying, personally, I always tend to want to go for a more realistic depiction of everything. But Grant, our art director, always pushes for a more aesthetically interesting game. He says space should always look beautiful. We argue, but he's totally right, Sean Murray says. Every science fiction book cover or film we look at for inspiration proves him right with gorgeous space vistas. He goes on to say, this game is about exploration though. While we focused on showing our more vibrant systems in the past, and they are more interesting to discover, if you want to see blackness of space, I think if you are willing to explore, then you'll find it. So that is good to know for a lot of people out there who are interested in seeing just black space. And now we're going to go down to the very unlikely things to consider that Sean has mentioned. One of those things is a third-person view for your ships. Again, this is unlikely, but they have given it some thought and could consider it later.
Bangarang wants to know if you can fly your ship in third-person view.
This is a discussion that happens like all the time on the team. And I think I was saying this to you guys, like when the game comes out, there are certain design decisions that maybe, even in kind of alpha testing and stuff like that, maybe people will feed back to us on. Like at the moment, you are always in first person, and we tried when you go into warp, we tried you going into third person, and we didn't really like it. We might go back to it, but we decided to keep you in first person. So yeah, you're always in first person at the moment, and maybe some people will find that weird and maybe we'll add that option, but at the moment, yeah, it's always first person.
Building space stations, yeah, really outlandish, but I put it in there because of the way Sean Murray reacted to the question if we could build space stations.
Can you build a space station? No, you can't. That's a good idea.
Sometimes it's really hard to tell what's going through his mind. Another thing that was asked by Sean Murray that he immediately shot down was stealing ships. And the Game Informer 2015 No Man's Sky hub on their website, he says, no, there's no stealing ships, but we'll see, because everyone asks about that. I don't like it. We're trying to keep the game not too destructive. I think as soon as you do it, it becomes the game about stealing ships. We'll see. So as far as confirming or denying the fact that you can steal ships, the we'll see there kind of, puts a brakes on the whole thing, and just have to do exactly what Sean Murray says, is wait and see. The last and final thing on the very unlikely is multiplayer. And the reason why I bring up multiplayer is because Sean brought up multiplayer all the way back in 2014, before the pressure for multiplayer actually started to gain momentum. So it's not like the response from Sean Murray was due to pressure about multiplayer. And it's something that he brought up himself. He wasn't asked if there was plans later. He literally says, there's this thing that we're all excited about, but it's further down the road. And of course, in the Edge magazine, without being asked, they literally said to come later, land vehicles and multiplayer. This is something that I feel it's, there is multiplayer in No Man's Sky. You can run into other people, but like in a Dark Souls type of way. It's not going to be like a co-op or PvP. I see these videos everywhere. I saw a video where this guy was talking about this outlandish experience where you were fighting another spaceship, and this spaceship was moving better than any NPC you've ever seen move, and it shot you down. And the response by this uploader was given by saying, and that was your experience with PvP. And by the time you realized it was too late, that person was gone. I do not think there's PvP at launch in No Man's Sky, because he equates it to Journey and Dark Souls. And we all know Journey and Dark Souls, you can't kill each other, and Journey and Dark Souls, you can't really do anything with each other. But my opinion stands that multiplayer in a co-op way will be implemented into the game further down the road. The reason why Sean Murray doesn't like to discuss it anymore is because No Man's Sky there's a core to the game, and that core is getting to the center, and that is going to be an amazing journey with the wildest things you could ever imagine seeing. And he wants people to play the core of that game before he starts tinkering with it and throwing some co-op in there. So that way, a year after the game's been released, it's not going to matter if a person buys the game a year later and he's able to cheat and go to the center by, being able to warp or join his friend's location in some weird way, by maybe a Stargate that's out in space or a portal that's out in space. They could fly your ship through. Who knows how they're going to do it? I do think it's inevitable that's going to happen. If it does happen, I don't think it's going to bother anybody out there in the universe who doesn't want to run into anybody. I mean, if you think about, if people are joining up in groups of 2, think about it like this. You're trying to walk across the kitchen, and there's little droplets all over the place of water, and each one of those droplets represents a player. Now start grouping up those droplets together, and you've got a lot more empty space, and you can walk through the kitchen without getting your feet wet, because now there's, you grouped a lot of those droplets together, and you've got dry space now. You can just tiptoe right on through. So people grouping up would actually make it even harder for you to run into anybody. But that is very unlikely to be in the game during launch. But then again, Sean Murray, Hello Games, they have shocked us so many times over and over and over again. So at this point, it's really amazing how you could think that anything can happen. What are they hiding? If he's always been so stern about hiding things from us, that letting us see that for the first time, letting us experience that for the first time. He doesn't want us to know how to do things because he wants us to figure that out on our own. So therefore, they're showing us all this stuff on the planet here recently. Imagine what they're not showing. Imagine that they could possibly not be showing the land vehicles. Who knows what's in store for us? I can't wait to find out. But as always, I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming back to Cobra TV. Please come over to ExploreNMS.com. The link for that's below too. A lot of people posting their fan art, fan fiction. It's just an amazing place over there. No fighting, I believe, at all. And over 3,000 members. It's going pretty strong. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time.